Okay, well, imagine a place that is so spiritually hungry and longing for more gospel presence, but they have no access to a church that preaches. What are we to do, and how do we know which locations to prioritize? It says in Romans 10:14-15, how will they believe if they haven't heard? How will they hear without somebody preaching? And how are they going to preach unless they're sent? So this is why we need to listen. This is why this matters. Is church planting is God's plan A to reach lost people with the gospel of Jesus Christ. And where we send people and with our resources, that contributes to that mission significantly. So why listen to me? Why Ethan? Well, I've been a part of the church my whole life. I've grown up in the church, and I've even been a part of multiple churches in my whole life of growing up. And I've seen this done very well, and I've also seen it done very poorly. And even from my audience analysis, I saw that actually 50% of people that were raised in the church had no communication that their church was planning on planting a church down the road. So this is actually not a super significant thing that we see generally in churches across our nation. I also work on Salt Company staff, and this is our mission, to multiply disciples in churches. So this is my vocation, and this is my job. So first, in my speech, I'm going to describe the evangelical outreach in towns. I'll discuss the population that it impacts, and then what the economic sustainability of that location impacts. So the thesis is that I believe the most effective church planting occurs in towns with low evangelical outreach. It has sustainable populations and economic sustainability, making strategic location selection guided with prayer and research. This is essential for long-term impact. So first, low evangelical outreach. So what's the least evangelized state in our country? It's Utah. So it says in Reaching Utah by Zachary Sigmund that in a rapidly growing state of 3.3 million people, only about 3% report attending an evangelical church. Roughly 23% of Utahns claim no religion. So anywhere from 50 to 60% are part of the LDS church. So that's over 3 million unreached people in one state. So now that I've described this low evangelism in a town from just one location, I'll discuss what population impacts in church planting. It's not just the population of the town you're going to, but it's also the surrounding areas. So Pastor Mike Feliciano wrote in an article, Small Town, Big God, Church Planting in Rural Places, about a church that he and his wife planted in a small town of 6,700 people, but God blessed their church so much that it reached 120 people with 75 salvations in just 8 years. He said, it may be a small town, but we serve a big God. It must be God as the mission, or it's in vain. So finally, economic sustainability. This sustainability depends on the size of the church and the goals that you have. So Pastor Travis Cunningham says, the way we move toward financial sustainability is through simple discipleship plan. In his article, Moving Towards Sustainability in Your Church Plant, he says to model generosity, that as a pastor you should be giving first, and then others will follow by example. So in conclusion, I believe that the most effective church planting occurs in towns with low evangelical outreach, sustainable population, and economic sustainability, making strategic location selection, guided by both prayer and research, essential for long-term impact. Not only through these points, but I believe through God's holy inspired word, church planting is massively important, and it takes the prayers and research to choose the best location. If we believe that Jesus really is the only way, truth, and life, then how can we sit still with 3 million people that are believing a counterfeit gospel? Now is the time to plan. So how are you going to be a part of it? That's all.